Even Jagmeet Singh said he wasn't in favor of the amendment for Bill C-21. If Jagmeet Singh isn't on board with your piece of liberal legislation, I think you've probably gone a bit too far. Welcome everyone to Ratioed. My name is Harrison Faulkner. We all know that Justin Trudeau and his Liberal government are deeply committed to ridding this country of all of its legal firearms. We know this because every single opportunity that the government has to actually tackle gun crime, they always end up going after the firearms that are never used to commit actual crimes. Just last month, Liberal MP Paul Chang, this guy, tried to quietly add a 458-page amendment to a piece of Liberal gun grab legislation called Bill C-21. This amendment seeks to ban thousands of long guns, bolt-action rifles, shotguns, World War I era, World War II era guns here. One of them is called the Plinkster, which is used to shoot tin cans. One of these guns even has the word duck in the name. I'm pretty sure the manufacturer of that rifle was intending for the target to be ducks and not rival gang members, but nonetheless the Liberals are seeking to label it an assault-style weapon, as they say, and have it banned from all uses. Canadians of all levels of society are speaking out against this legislation, including one notable Canadian, NHL goalie Kerry Price of the Montreal Canadiens. Just like any professional athlete, he thought, given what he sees in social media, when he sees his counterparts in basketball, his counterparts in baseball, taking the knee and calling their countries racist, he thought, well, maybe I can speak about politics too. But you see, he made a big miscalculation. He thought that any athlete could speak about any political issue they wanted. Now, that's just not the case, as we know. Unless you're speaking about far-left radical causes, you're actually not allowed to speak. Drop a like on the video, help us out by subscribing to the True North YouTube channel, and the comment question for the episode is this. How would you like to see members of parliament oppose this piece of legislation? It's all well and good for us to get upset about it. It's all well and good when professional athletes like Kerry Price speak up about it. But how would you like to see conservative MPs and Bloc MPs who have voiced their opposition to this actually fight back against the Liberals on this piece of legislation? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Hopefully someone is reading these comments and taking some notes. All right, let's get into it. Bill C-21 is a piece of legislation crafted by the Liberals to help them advance their national freeze on handguns. The Liberals announced this freeze on handguns immediately after the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, using the tragedy in the United States to advance their political cause. Typical Trudeau. The bill before the backdoor Liberal amendment, which would ban hunting rifles, was in itself pretty crazy. Take a look at this. This was inside the bill, called red flag laws. I'm sure you might have heard of them. The red flag laws would enable anyone to make an application to a court for an emergency weapons prohibition order to immediately remove firearms for up to 30 days from an individual who may pose a danger to themselves or others. So if someone thinks you're a danger to yourself, they can make an application to a court and you can have your firearms seized. The same thing goes for, quote, yellow flag laws, which are also in this legislation. The yellow flag laws, among others, allow a chief firearms officer to temporarily suspend an individual's license for up to 30 days when there is a reason to suspect the person is no longer eligible to hold a firearms license. Any member of the public to contact a chief firearms officer with information about a license holder, and a chief firearms officer to use the 30-day suspension to investigate a claim and revoke a license if there is evidence to support it. And last but not least, along with the red flag laws and along with the yellow flag laws, and on top of the total freeze on handguns, the government was also proposing a prohibition on air guns, or guns that closely resemble real firearms but are not real firearms, like replicas, or better known as toy guns, but toy guns that look real. And now, Liberal MP Paul Chang's 478-page amendment seeks to ban thousands of long guns, thousands of guns that are not used to commit any crimes in this country. As we all know, a gun in the wrong hands can kill somebody. It's a very dangerous thing. Even if it's the Plinkster that's used to shoot tin cans, it's still bad. But gun owners in Canada are some of the safest Canadians in the country. Even if they wanted to have illegal guns, they wouldn't be able to because the government is constantly surveilling them. And whether or not you think that's a good thing or not, the truth is they are very safe. And no one, not even the Liberals, are able to say that the licensed gun owners in Canada are the ones committing gun crime. We all know who commits gun crime, and they're not the legal gun owners. They're not the licensed gun owners. They're gangbangers in our biggest cities. Now, Justin Trudeau, Marco Mendicino, and the Liberal government, they always like to use the term assault-style weapons. They always like to try and scare Canadians to say, well, the guns we're taking off the street are military assault-style weapons. Should we take a look at some of these dangerous, scary military-style assault weapons, as the government always says? Why don't we take a look, actually, at what is in this new amendment? Oh, look at this scary gun here, the Ruger number 1. As the National Post puts it, if you're looking to hold up a liquor store, it is probably your worst option. You've only got one shot, so you gotta fire it once, and then you gotta load it up again with another bullet. each time, one after another. Now take a look at this one. It's the Mossberg 702 Plinkster. It's all black, so it's kind of scary looking, but as the name suggests, it's used for shooting tin cans, target practice. The National Post does say, however, that it's got about the same amount of firepower as the gunpowder-activated concrete hammer that you can buy at the Home Depot. But again, like I said, you see this one a lot in downtown Toronto. You see it in the back alleys of Scarborough, where all the gang members like to hang out. It's a very common used gun in the downtown Toronto gang scene, the Plinkster. Oh, look at this guy here, the Wesley Richards model 1897. Another 22 caliber gun, so just like the Plinkster, it's got a lot of firepower, a lot of danger there. As the model name suggests, it is in fact from the 19th century, and it also comes with some pretty nice engravings on the side. So we've got a serious gun here, and it says in the original marketing for the gun, it is used for rabbit shooting. So designed for rabbit shooting, but take Justin Trudeau's word for it. He says we're not going after hunting rifles, but again, the Wesley Richards from 1897, this very dangerous looking but kind of cool looking gun here, it must be banned in order to keep our city safe. The Liberal government is banning any break-action shotgun, which, as the name sounds, you actually break the gun in half to load 2 shotgun shells into it and cock it back into place where you can shoot, and they're shotgun shells. But Canada's trying to ban almost every single type of break-action shotgun, which includes almost all the guns made by a manufacturer called Parker Brothers, which is an American gun maker which hasn't existed since the 1940s. I think one of the funniest parts about this amendment is that in their extremely long copy and pasted list of weapons that they have decided to ban, they didn't even bother to look at some of these options because, take a look at here, one of the guns that is banned in the list is called the Webley and Amp Scott Wildfowl gun. So not only do the names have wildfowl and duck in the gun, they're not even spelled right. It's clearly copy and pasted with Webley and Amp. As you can see, the Liberals are very serious about keeping Canadian cities safe. That's why they're going after the Webley Amp gun and the finely engraved Italian Canseri rifle, along with the Parker gun, the break-action shotgun, and the Wesley Richards 1897, very dangerous, very scary, military-style assault weapon. So as you can see, the guns that are being banned have the name wildfowl and duck in them, among, I'm sure, many of them. So they're actually designed to shoot ducks. The guns are designed for hunting. But Liberal cabinet ministers like Marco Mendicino and Justin Trudeau are brazenly telling people that they're not going after hunters. Take a look at these two.
Mr. Speaker, we've been very clear that we are not targeting law-abiding hunters and fishers. We're not going after shotguns or rifles. We have banned military-style assault weapons.
Madam Speaker, in fact, my colleague from the Conservative Party is wrong. We are not targeting hunters. In fact, I met members of the hunting community this morning to assure them that what we are going after are the AR-15 style firearms, which have been used in far too many mass casualties across the country.
And on Wednesday, even Jagmeet Singh said he wasn't in favor of the amendment for Bill C-21. If Jagmeet Singh isn't on board with your piece of Liberal legislation, I think you've probably gone a bit too far.
Our caucus has always supported the handgun ban. We think it's the right thing to do. We believe it's important to keep communities safe, and we're unified behind it. The amendment is something that we're concerned about. And frankly, the Liberals know that there's problems with it. They themselves can't explain how it would be put in place, and they themselves admitted it was a mistake. So now we're expecting them to fix their mistake.
So all of this brings us to Kerry Price, the legendary goalie for the Montreal Canadiens. Kerry Price took to Instagram on Sunday to voice his opposition to Trudeau's gun grab legislation. He wrote this: "I love my family, I love my country, and I care for my neighbor. I am not a criminal or a threat to society. What Justin Trudeau is trying to do is unjust. I support the CCFR to keep my hunting tools. Thank you for listening to my opinion." A totally reasonable statement. He loves his country, he loves his neighbor, and what the Prime Minister is doing is unjust. And he drops this pretty badass photo of him standing in a field with his shotgun, with his rifle, saying, "I'm not on board with your plan to ban hunting guns." I mean, he even thanks you for listening to his opinion. I mean, come on, how can you not respect that? Kerry Price's post on Instagram kickstarted an absolute firestorm on social media, driving the conversation on Twitter for the past 2 or 3 days in opposition to this piece of legislation. Pierre Poilievre wrote on Twitter, "Kerry is absolutely right. Hunting is a great Canadian tradition. Trudeau's attempts to ban hunting rifles are an attack on rural and Indigenous people. We must stop him. Even the Bloc leader Yves-François Blanchet jumped on this and really used it to rally around opposition to the bill. Unfortunately for Kerry Price, though, his opinion wasn't woke enough. It wasn't progressive enough. It wasn't far left enough for the extremely woke NHL and the Montreal Canadiens. So much so that the Montreal Canadiens went so far as to cancel their own employee. They tried to cancel Kerry Price, forcing him to apologize for his statement, forcing him to apologize because of the timing. It wasn't right. The timing was wrong because it was too close to the École Polytechnique massacre. Take a look at this woke, extremely embarrassing, groveling statement from the Montreal Canadiens. So I'm going to save you and not read the entire statement. I'll just jump to the actual part that matters. On Saturday, Kerry Price posted a statement in support of the CCFR's opposition to a proposed federal gun control legislation. As previously stated, Kerry was unaware of the CCFR's recent marketing campaign, nor was he aware of the unfortunate timing of his statement. The Montreal Canadiens wish to express their sincere apology to any and all who have been offended or upset by the discourse that has arisen over this matter in recent days. So they're actually apologizing for the opinions of one of their own employees. They're attacking Kerry Price because he decided to voice his opinion on a piece of legislation which was up for debate in committee at this current time because it coincided with the Polytechnique massacre. Now, of course, the timing is not great, but the timing is itself a trap. So that anyone who voices their opinion on a piece of legislation which is being debated on as we speak right now is seen as being insensitive to the timing of the massacre. But no one commented on the timing when the Liberals announced Bill C-21 in the first place. That was about timing too. They announced that piece of legislation on the back of the Uvalde school shooting, but no one said they're using the tragedy to benefit their own political cause. Ratio of the week time, guys, and it's going to Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP. We featured him on this show already, but take a look at this absolutely insane tweet that he released. What was it, Sunday or Monday? I think it was Sunday. Just take a look at this. White supremacy, misogyny, and racism continue to contribute to this ongoing genocide of MMIWG2S, and we must confront it. He's talking there about the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, and he just tacked on Two-Spirit as well, 2S, because we're not living in clown world. He tacked on 2S there as well to make the acronym look totally normal. MMIWG2S. He says that the genocide of the MMIWG2S, the missing and murdered Indigenous girls and Two-Spirits, the genocide is being perpetrated by white supremacists and misogynists and racists. Now, we all know that that's an absurdly ridiculous statement, and we don't need to get into it because it's frankly a waste of time. By getting into it, we're kind of validating it. But think about this. Jagmeet Singh is basically saying that he is propping up a government which is overseeing a genocide of Indigenous women and girls. No one is forcing Jagmeet Singh to be in this position. No one is forcing Jagmeet Singh to prop up the genocidal government, as he says. He could just so easily drop his support. He could easily leave the country and say, I want to wash my hands of this genocidal government. But for whatever reason, he seems pretty content propping up this government, which he apparently thinks is committing some sort of ongoing genocide. This tweet has over 2,300 replies, 2,314 comments, and 1,509 likes. So a brutal ratio, a worthy winner. Take a look at some of these comments. MMIWG2S seems like a reasonable acronym that is not a sign of deep-seated neurosis at all. But why is there no plus at the end of it? Are you a bigot? That was my thinking too, Greg. I thought to myself, well, wait a minute here. We're leaving out a bunch of stuff here. We're leaving out the asexual Indigenous women and girls. We're leaving out the bisexual Indigenous women and girls. We're leaving out the lesbian, the gay, the transgender Indigenous women and girls. I think you're onto something here. I think Jagmeet Singh here might be a bit of a bigot. John Kay, always on the money, writes this. So there's an ongoing genocide being conducted by the Canadian government, the same government that's been in power for 7 years, and which you and the NDP are now propping up as accessories to genocide. When are you and your whole genocidaire caucus going to turn yourself into The Hague? Any day now, hopefully. And I had to get on the action myself. I just wrote, Canada's not a serious country. All right, that's going to do it for us this week on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Harrison Faulkner. I'll catch you tomorrow on Fake News Friday, and this is Ratio.